You are a guardian, a warrior forged in the traveler's light, who has chosen to defend humanity, a beacon of hope in a universe constantly threatened by forces that would see it destroyed or worse. Chosen by the traveler and raised from the dead by ghosts, guardians are part of the rare few able to wield paracausal abilities to manipulate the world around them. For centuries they have defended the city, but now they have extended their reach to Sol, protecting all who call this solar system home. Retake our lost worlds, forge unexpected alliances, and harness the power within yourself. The guardians who lead the way will save humanity and become legend. Created by the traveler's light, ghosts seek out their guardian companions among the dead. The ghost can be scout, librarian, and mechanic, ancient machinery guiding their guardians forward. In the right situations, your ghost can even save you from death. But ghosts are not immortal. As far as guardians know, every loss is irreplaceable. The Traveler. Everything changed when the Traveler arrived in Sol. It gave us gifts that transformed the solar system and the nature of human life. Moreover, it ushered in the Golden Age, a renaissance of scientific and cultural achievement. Despite all the good it has done for us, we still know nothing of the Traveler's origins or the reason it gifted light bearers with paracausal powers. Unbeknownst to us, each of those miracles came at a price. Threats greater than we could have ever fathomed have found their way to our doorstep in pursuit of the Traveler. The threats we face. The arrival of the Traveler, for all the good it brought to Sol, painted a target on the entire system. Humanity has faced enemies from all corners of the universe. The Fallen, the Hive, the Scorn, the Vex, the Cabal, and the Taken, to name a few. While Guardians successfully fought off each onslaught, a greater enemy was revealed. The Witness, a mysterious voice in the darkness that led our enemies to our solar system and the Traveler. Though the Witness was cloaked in mystery, one thing was clear. It sought the destruction of the Traveler. The leaders who guide us. The Vanguard is the last city's greatest defense and first line of offense when a threat presents itself. The organization is comprised of a long, storied line of elite guardians with a leader chosen for each of the classes: Hunter, Titan, and Warlock. Commander Zavala serves as Titan Vanguard, a force of nature as unyielding as he is deadly. He has led the Guardians to victory in countless battles, and the moment a threat presents itself, the last city looks to him as both a leader and a protector. Ikora Ray serves as the Warlock Vanguard, an unmatched scholar and one of the most formidable warlocks in the history of the last city. She oversees the Vanguard's intelligence network known as the Hidden. Currently, the Hunter Vanguard position remains open. The title once belonged to Cade 6, a guardian as quick with a gun as he was with a joke. He met his final death after his ghost was killed, a sobering reminder that even guardians can be slain. A statue of him stands in the tower to keep his memory alive. The friends we made. Over our years, our relationship to both light and darkness has changed. The nuance of the universe has often been ignored by humanity in favor of black and white boxes that make existence easier to grasp. Just as we have begun to open ourselves up to that nuance, so too have we begun to understand our former enemies and even forge alliances with them. Most recently, both Empress Keitel of the Cabal and Commanders of Allah saw the threat of the Hive as larger than the differences between her people and ours. Similarly, a group of Fallen, known in their own language as Elixini, have put aside the bad blood between our people to form the House of Light, under the leadership of Mithrax, Kell of Light. They now live alongside us in the city and have become trusted allies. The Golden Age. The Traveler changed everything. It reshaped our solar system as decisively as it shattered our scientific and philosophical frameworks. To our ancestors, it must have been a hammer blow, a glimpse beyond the horizon of expected possibility. The Traveler kindled the Golden Age, but we built it. We remember this with pride, even after so much else has been lost. Today, cryptocs and scholars work to distill the legends of the Golden Age into truth. We know now that humans lived longer, flew farther, and learned faster. We know that countless ancient diseases and hatreds were extinguished forever. Human aspiration gave birth to vast engineering projects, sweeping social movements, and even new forms of life. The Golden Age was not without challenges, but humanity and its machine children tackled these problems with pride, vigor, and a contagious sense of pluralist compassion. The Collapse and the Dark Age. The Golden Age burned bright, and the night that overtook us after the collapse was swift and total. Incalculable waves of destruction ripped through Sol, decimating populations all around the system. If the stories are to be believed, this event marks the arrival of the Witness and its forces and their first attack on the Traveler. That day, the Traveler saved us for certain extinction. The tally of suffering may be beyond comprehension, but in the following decades, the city lifted itself up from the ash, gathering survivors. Guardians rose to challenge 80 alien hordes. The Dark Age swallowed so much of our history, but hope never died. The City Age. The last city did not rise without struggle. Light-bearers, styling themselves as warlords, and wilderness fiefdoms clung to power. Starvation, disease, and anarchy menaced. But this struggle brought about the rise of the Guardians and the formulation of the Vanguard. The organization fought tirelessly to return some semblance of order to the people remaining on Earth. As the city learned to walk again, it found a world overrun by alien menace. It faced disaster and defeat in the Taken War and the Red War, outlasted multiple invasions, and was plunged into an endless night. If not for the work and sacrifice of the Vanguard, we would have lost it many times over. The last city is both a reminder of all that remains of Earth civilization and a commitment to our future. Repairs may come in small bursts, progress may feel slow, but humanity is nothing if not resilient. The Tower. As every Guardian knows, there are few dull moments in Sol, but any precious downtime is most often spent in the hangars and hallways of the Tower. Operating as a base of operations for the Vanguard, the tower overlooks the last city, and the traveler serving as a watchful eye should any threats arise. As the seasons change, so too does the tower. Guardians looking to partake in holiday events and the festival alike. Guardian Games, Solstice, Festival of the Lost, and the Dawning will find Eva Levante leading the celebrations with special activities and decorations galore. Raids and dungeons. As they grow into their power and skills, Guardians often find themselves in need of a challenge. Treacherous dungeons and powerful foes are the perfect way to test your mettle. A well-equipped fire team of 3 may face difficult combatants and precarious environments as they make their way through a dungeon. Should they wish for an even bigger challenge, a fire team of 6 guardians can work together to take on Soul's biggest threats in a raid. Unanswered questions. There are many entities whose motivations remain shrouded by time and space, and some that exist beyond our comprehension of reality. Perhaps the most well-known of these are the Hive Gods, Savathun the Witch Queen, Xivu Arath the God of War, and Oryx the Taken King. While we defeated Oryx when he sought to destroy the light, and Savathun when she sought to take it from us, the Witch Queen's true fate remains uncertain. The 9 are another group of entities who inhabit this solar system. Very little is known about them outside of their unique writing styles. A Mysterian agent of theirs, Zur, visits well-known locations around Sol, offering rare goods for sale. Guiding Light. It takes considerable skill to master the greatest challenges in Sol, but it takes a very dedicated and patient guardian to step up and lead others through these daunting tests. Every experienced guardian was once a new light. You may reminisce on your own first time in the deepest pits of the moon. What advice would you give yourself from those early days? Those who take the time to share their expertise are an invaluable part of the guardian community. Becoming a leader isn't just about being the best. It's about dedicating the time and effort to helping others become their best. A humble thank you. Though the threats to our solar system may seem never-ending, know that your skill and power in defeating the greatest enemies in Sol, your experience in leading and mentoring others, and your efforts in creating a safer, kinder Sol haven't gone unnoticed. Congratulations, Guardian. May the songs of your deeds go down in history, and may the stars forever light your path. Per Odisea ad Astrata. Grimoire City, the Onslaught. Our enemies never relent, neither will you. Quote Lord Shax. Despite the sharp breeze in the tower, the air in Shax's outpost is uncomfortably still and weighted with tension. There is work to do. Personal feelings must not interfere when certain doom hangs over all their heads. We can't afford to play defense. Not now. Shax stares fixedly at the training plans drawn up for his guardians. Then offense, you will have to see us through this fight. That should come naturally to you. Saladin's posture is legionary perfect. Then that's that. Teeth gritted under his helmet, Shax folds his arms. After a long moment he adds, "Good talk." Saladin nods. "Good talk." They look at the screen in silence. There is nobody to rescue them. Grimoire, Eris Morn, Hive God of Vengeance. Eris, tenacious Eris, Crota's bane, Oryx's sorrow, ruin of Xivu Arath. to see you reduced once again to a minion of the awoken queen, examining a locked gate for signs of weaknesses, rattling the bars to the afterlife when you might have kicked the door in. This very plane could have been yours. What you lacked in natural talent, you fashioned from scholarly genius. Your will is the thing, and I mistook yours. How you burned with it, the noble vindication of victory. Every sword ever raised against you, can I say against us? Down through the long years of history, vengeance killed Oryx, why not his sibling? But you threw the match. What good is a mortal blow half delivered? You whet your blade and threw it down. The throne of war abandoned. 1,000 races fed that glorious polyp. All that hard-won evidence. You didn't even look at it. I could have guided you, don't you see that? What will you do now? Kick down their banners? Hope for vengeance without bloodshed? And through what realms you have stamped the proof of your cause. I too avenged? Why would I want that? Wait, come back. Grimoire, the ironwood tree. Not so much sense memorializing anybody during the Dark Age. Anyone worth remembering? You'd hang on to them without trying. Drifter crouches down in front of the ironwood tree, mindful of the offerings littering the ground. The amulet's nothing fancy, not one of those Iron Lord tokens, but handmade, and with some care, Joxer's name is easy to read, crisp lettering. Dumb heroics will get you every time, volunteering, first one through, so the rest of us know not to try it, Drifter smirks. He'd have had a fighting chance against a primeval. Big payout if he made it, cleaner death if he didn't. Lord Shax shift his weights, his helmet cants towards the Drifter. But then you wouldn't be standing there. There's no reply. Grimoire, brave arsenal. Lord Shax? Oh, he's quite a craftsman, but then of course he's a survivor, like us. He loves rewarding his pupils with praise, and at times with something more material. He invests great care in his designs. Still, sometimes a weapon has an unexpected kick, a side effect. He locks those away for special occasions. Other times, the Vanguard intervenes. You never know where you'll find the next ghost killer. But outside the Crucible, the rules of engagement shift. There's no sense in leaving perfectly good ornaments in storage. Don't worry, Namrask. I don't intend to abandon the loom. I am merely consulting. I am surprised Lord Shax let Drifter contribute. His aptitude is not in question, but I thought... What? Oh yes, low-level radiation is to be expected. Article Down on the Farm by Ember Haddad, senior editor at the City Herald. Readers might be forgiven for imagining that after having been captured by Shadow Legion forces, EDZ residents might consider relocating to the last city. I took a trip out to the famed settlement known as the Farm to talk to the civilians and FOTC officers still stubbornly posted at the edge of the world. We're not fighting for one city, we're fighting for humanity, says Baishan, one of the farm's technicians. Baishan is charged with maintaining the farm's few precious remaining generators, and more recently, its ether processors. This is our world, and we're going to keep staking a claim. Naomi, a pilot with forces of the city, has been overseeing regular supply runs to the farm in the wake of fierce bombardment by the Shadow Legion. She sees this as a par for the course. Humans are good at adapting to just about anything, she observes. For many, the true revelations have come as a result of continued cooperation with new Elixni neighbors. Longtime farm resident Carol notes, "There's a lot about fallen tech we couldn't have guessed at. With Scarce and Rixor helping out, we've cobbled together our own solar cell network. Our energy output is 5 times what it used to be. The first step toward long-term projects is getting out of starvation mode. And the people here do think long-term. Few of the people I interviewed seem to have much interest in returning to the safety of the walls. The Witness tore down our cities, blighted our air and water, and sent raiders and monsters after us. We're still here, waiting for the first chance we get to take it all back. The way I see it, those of us here on the farm are just getting a head start." Grimoire enemies, Reaver Vandal. "Death is the great mystery to us all." Quote, Master Rahul. The question of Elixni mortality is often discussed amongst members of the Cryptarchy. Stories of Elixni arising in full health from a death or near-death state, as Mithrax did, some say abound. The Reaver of Old Russia is attested to in dozens of Vanguard records. Experienced guardians will swear on their ghost that they once killed a Reaver Vandal who was uncannily strong for his size, only to see him alive and well again the next day. They have given him a nickname, perhaps as a show of respect for another, being seemingly immune to death. That would be Randall the Vandal. Article, A Darker Hour, Looking Back at the Great ... by Emmanuel Utkin, staff writer for the City Herald. Several lifetimes have passed since the Vanguard suffered a blow from which many felt it might never recover. For the lightless among us, the great disaster has become a fable, a story of monsters and tragic heroes accompanying the worst of the universe can bring to bear. For many of the city's guardians, however, the events of that time are not simply part of the historical record, but a personal memory. "I'd never seen anything like it," Odon Collis says. "That army the Vanguard put together. Emboldened by initial victory against the Hive at the site of the burning lake, the Vanguard in consensus ordered a full-scale assault on the moon. An army of guardians, 1,000 strong, marched against entrenched Hive forces, only to fall by the hundreds to a single Hive champion. Odon was one of the lucky guardians who managed to reach a transport before the moon was abandoned in the retreat. Turns out immortal doesn't mean invincible," Odon observes. "Just means you stand a better chance of living with your mistakes." The disaster spelled the beginning and the end for the Vanguard's military prospects. Any hope of formally organizing the city's light bearers dissipated. Contemporary records show that many felt the Guardian population soon became ungovernable, even disloyal, in the wake of the Vanguard's failure. But events in recent years suggest that Guardians do not require loyalty to a military command to compel them to place themselves in danger on behalf of the city. Whether driven by hope for humanity or a desire for wealth, Guardians have continued to face off against increasingly dire threats. "I used to run with Future War Cult," Odon tells me. "I guess I started to think, maybe we win the little fights, but we're never going to do anything about the real enemies out there. That war will always be waiting." He laughs, and then someone comes along and kicks Crota's teeth in. Grimoire, the City, Praxic Order. There are some of the tower's best assets. There is always the risk, of course, of over-enthusiasm. Quote, Ikora Ray. Type, agent feed. Parties, 2. 1 agent, Honor Mahal. 1 field agent, redacted under Cormorant encryption. Audio unavailable. Transcript follows. I assume. Yeah. Mahal, keep cool, Agent. R, I'm steady as a titan. Mahal, steadiness means not getting cocky on the way out. R, oh, in that case, don't think they clocked me in the scare. Nothing but a blueberry with a nasty streak. Mahal, and the deal? R, next week, even a new light like me could find a better deal before then. Mahal, I'd rather deal with incompetent arms dealers than the reverse. R, you and me both, ma'am. Article, United in Hope, Our Neighbors in Neomuna, by Emmanuel Utkin, staff writer at the City Herald. Confirmation of a human settlement on Neptune was only one of several shocking revelations over the course of recent years. Its discovery marks a sea change in our collective access to Golden Age information and technology long thought to be lost. Perhaps more importantly, it heralds potential reconnection with the rest of our people. Who are these Neomunai? Are they anything like us? Real-time communication between Neomuna and Earth is still stymied by the logistics of crossing enemy lines. In addition to Neomuna's communication restrictions, data transmissions from Neomuna are strictly controlled and scrutinized for Vex corruptions. Therefore, Vanguard sources provide assistance contacting Neomuna citizens who asked willing individuals to share their perspectives on the possibilities of a long-awaited reunion with Earth. Despite the dangers, many Neomuna denizens are optimistic about this curtain coming down someday in the future. A brief selection of their thoughts follows. I don't know how things would have shaken out if we'd stayed on Earth. Maybe we wouldn't have the Cloud Arc or nanotechnology, but if we make it through this fight with the Witness, I think it's only fair we send over, what we have on food production, terraforming. There's a whole planet to reclaim. I'd love to read some new Earth literature. I'd always assumed that the stories we managed to bring us were going to be the last of their kind. Does anyone over there like detective stories? It's been interesting to see the Guardians at work. Is everyone on Earth like that? Going at Mach 12 all the time? Stay tuned for continued coverage, including a guest feature from Neomuna's very own Jisoo Colorado. Article, Hot Off the Shelf, by Ember Haddad, senior editor at the City Herald. My new friend is an unassuming young man in a torn flight jacket, still coated in a fine layer of dust. His ghost, Rivet, is looking impressively smug for a small middle being. They told me I'd never find my guardian. Rivet tells me that I should try my luck with the hive. But look at him, he's beautiful. Like all Risen, Rivet's beautiful new guardian has no memory of who he was, where he is, or what his purpose might be. But he nods agreeingly when Rivet explains to him that guardians protect the last city. I'm here to fight Fallen in the Cabal, the guardian says proudly, but only the mean ones. He's still figuring a few details out, Rivet says. It's been a very eventful past few years in the Sol system, I ask Rivet. At this point in time, how does a ghost go about getting their new guardian up to speed? Well, you start by warning them about what threats will be facing the field, right? I haven't really gotten into the part about the end of the world just yet, though. Rivet's guardian looks confused. The world is ending? Vanguard Operative Shah Han, my escort through the Cosmodrome and local shepherd on those he calls new lights, has similar advice. It helps to focus on the basics, let them test out their light, learn what they're capable of. The details can come later. Even now. Yep, once they get a handle on the little things, saving the world comes naturally. Article, A Consensus for the Rest of Us, by Leah Terrazas, political correspondent at the City Herald. Chibwek Ontenyo, Patrica Kosar, Argus McCowan is there anything in the current state of consensus hopefuls have in common? It's that they offer a very different kind of representation for the mortal population of the last city. Raucous political gatherings have become a staple of the city's nightlife in recent months, with potential candidates vying for the chance to make their case for candidacy in the city's parks and public squares. Chief among their demands is the urgent restoration of fair representation to the city's government. Notably, absent are the old trappings of long-established faction loyalties. This move away from guardian-driven factions speaks to a more mortal-centric framing, one of the several enthusiastic volunteers campaigning on behalf of McCowan. We know the Vanguard can handle the long view, but we need the short-term perspective as well as the immortal one. Warlock Vanguard Akora Ray has repeatedly pledged to restore the consensus, promising to hold civilian elections once the immediate threat is over. Not everyone is content to wait. How many citizens were exiled from the city because they got on Executor Hideo's bad side? Asked one local. I mean, how many guardians got the boot because they wanted guardians ruling the city? Isn't that what we have now? If things are so desperate, why don't we invite some of our own people back home? Others call the excitement over elections premature. If we lose the war, I'm pretty sure none of us are going to be alive to do any voting. It is difficult to argue the point the election turnout might be poor under the current circumstances, but if the lightless members of our community are to have a voice in the future, it's clear that there are those ready and eager to speak. Grimoire Allies, Elixni. We have found the great machine, quote, Mithrax after Chelchis. Known on Earth for centuries as the Fallen, the Elixni are four-armed beings from the planet Reese. They fled their home after the traveler's departure caused a planet-wide calamity called the Whirlwind. While many Elixni remain steadfast enemies of the last city, others have joined as our allies and neighbors, most notably the House of Light and their leader, Mithrax. Elixni rely on the inhalation of ether to survive and grow, processed from organic materials and energy by servitors. Ether is highly combustible. As such, any leaks in city tanks are to be immediately reported through emergency channels. Allies Tower, Empress Keitel. We eat the mountains, we drink the seas. The former Emperor Callus lived for joy, rejecting his empire's long military tradition, his sole heir, and a member of the coup that overthrew him. The Empress Keitel makes for a different leader. A classic militarist, she trained in her youth as a fighter pilot. Keitel has bent her considerable might to two goals, defeating the Witness and reclaiming her home world of Torabottle. Keitel's empire is a sprawling one, composed of many peoples. It continues to expand even within Seoul, with the Empress accepting the oath of the Empire's first guardian, the Valis Saladin Forge. Article: Visitors Out of Dreams. Changing Reef Relations by Leah Terrazas, political correspondent at the City Herald. Recent strategic summits between Queen Morosov of the Awoken and the Vanguard have provided our citizens with that rarest of honors, a glimpse of our Awoken neighbors. The city has hosted a small Awoken population for centuries, but reef-born subjects of the Queen were more commonly contained to Awoken settlements and outposts within their own territory. The Queen's secrets were guarded zealously, and prior relations with the city often bordered on hostility. In the face of common threats, however, this isolationist policy has since softened. For today's citizens, the arrival of awoken corsairs is a minor spectacle. I just know it's some sort of divine monarchy, one local commented. How are we supposed to keep up with everything in Seoul these days? But they sure look impressive. Initial impressions of the awoken corsairs appear to be a positive, with several residents describing them as disciplined, worldly, and surprisingly grounded. We made a choice to help Earth this long ago, said one corsair. I'm glad we can do so openly. While the imminent battle for the traveler is foremost on everyone's minds, several corsairs noted their hopes for continued cooperation, especially given rumors of a resurgence of the infamous Ahamkara. As another corsair put it, there's a lot we're going to have to figure out together in a hurry. Well guys, that was all the lore cards I have for Lore the Vanguard. I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, sleep well and goodbye.